I always hear from so many students, I don't like math. I said to myself that I can do this. It's going to take some time, but I'll never quit.
Welcome to the Tenacious Teacher podcast. I'm your host, Candace Tolliver Burns, and this episode is powered by the Friendship Public Charter School Network. Today's guest is an incredibly tenacious educator whose journey spans across 2 continents, from teaching high school math in India to coaching teachers on math pedagogy right here in DC. Bharti Bhasin brings a curiosity, a passion, and a global perspective to building scholars who are doers, thinkers, and drivers. Bharti, I'm so glad to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I have been following your work for some time. You don't know me, but I know you. And when we are looking for guests for the Tenacious Teacher podcast, we're looking for teachers that aren't just, of course, first and foremost, they're impactful, they're effective, they're transformative. But we're looking for these really incredibly tenacious stories. And several of your colleagues said, you've got to go talk to Bharti. So here we are. I'd like to start off with a question that I think speaks to the heart of this podcast and to your personal and professional journey. When did you know you were incredibly tenacious? Was it a moment? Was it an experience? Was it an encounter? Something that required you to not just work hard, but to persevere and achieve your goal no matter what.
So again, thanks for having me, and thank you for such kind words because they really mean so much to me. So I'll take you back when I was in high school in India. And I had this inbuilt thing in me, which I realized when my peers and my friends told me that whenever they had some issue with the math problem, I do a good job explaining them the problem, like the way I broke it down for them. It was something like they understood really well. And, during that time, when we are in high school, we are still thinking of what you really want to do in life, right? And that just geared my interest more towards math. And then the journey didn't stop since then. So I taught for almost 9 years in a private school in India. Actually, it was my own school. I was the alumni of that school. And after 9 years of teaching in a high school, me and my husband, we thought that let's explore. Let's explore what's happening in the other side of the world. So that's when it came to our mind that we want to explore the US education system. And then I started applying. And, step by step, everything went in the right direction. And back in 2008, December, I got the opportunity to join Prince George's County Public Schools as a middle school teacher. So I was there for about 3.5 years. And since it was a middle school, and my love has been like the content of high school math, so that's when I applied to Friendship. And just Friendship's vision and mission was so aligned to what I wanted to do in the education career that I just got attracted that this is what I want to do. And my passion for students and teach in an urban setting really took me, a step forward towards Friendship.
So from Prince George's to Washington, D.C., and you said you really were interested in working in a fully urban setting. Why?
So, one thing which always stands out and in my thoughts, in the way I think, is that I don't want to stay in my comfort zone. When I start getting too comfortable in one area, I need to explore more. I need to learn more. I need to just challenge myself. So I knew that it would not be easy, but I also had confidence that I can do this. And, I always hear from so many students that, oh, I don't like math, or math is not for me. So I wanted to change that perspective. So of course, I cannot do it with a large population, but I definitely knew that the students I serve, I can change that mind frame and start making them love math.
So I'm curious about changing that mind frame or that perspective. You came from India. Tell me, were there a lot of similarities? Were there a lot of differences in how the educational framework is structured? Is the school culture similar or different? And then how did that take shape for you here in the U.S.?
It's very different. It's like, I can say it's day and night.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because the way we teach in India is more lecture method. The lecture method is more prevalent. You basically stand in front of the students and just teach them. And there's a board in the class. You had markers and just that, right? We have one textbook which we follow. And the classes are large, like you will have 45 to 50 students in one classroom.
Almost like a college classroom.
It's like that.
Okay.
So it's more what you see here in colleges sometimes with large classes is that. Like there's not much one-on-one interaction. There's like nothing called small groups. It's very different.
So I'm curious, what was your early transition like? I mean, were there some aspects of your practice before you moved to the U.S. that you said, okay, these are some things I can apply right here in this classroom? And what are those things that you thought, you know what, I've got to shift or change?
So I did some research. I saw what's different. Like I don't want to put myself into with absolutely like no idea. So I came prepared in terms of what I saw or what I read on the internet probably, right? But when you really experience that firsthand, it's totally different. Because I still remember the first time when I entered into a classroom, it was like I'm a brand new teacher.
Wow.
I don't
After
know
almost
this.
10 years of teaching prior to coming to the U.S.
Right.
Okay.
And then also the way I was talking to the students was something which I was getting the expressions that, what? Like, you know, everything, every small thing was so different. I still remember the first time I gave them a test, it was like all subjective because that's what I was used to back home. And my students, I used to have 6th and 7th graders then, and they were very surprised that Mrs. Bhasin, like, what is this? I still remember I made a handwritten exam, and like they were so surprised.
Handwritten.
Yes.
I can't recall in middle school having a handwritten exam. Okay.
There were no multiple choice questions. I gave them separate sheets to answer, and they were super surprised. Like,
how'd they tackle it?
So they did it. It's not that they did not do it, but I understood very clearly that I really need to understand like this in and out, because I cannot do something which is not benefiting the students the way they are used to, right? So I still remember I used to go to all my colleagues' math classes and I used to observe like how they teach. I had notes and notes and notes. I still have that notebook where like a student reacted this in the situation. So what was the instructor's explanation to that, or what was the instructor's messaging? Like every small thing, because honestly, I'll be so honest with you that it was like students used to laugh at certain things I said. And I was a very respected educator back home.
Right.
So I could not feel that going well with me.
Right.
So I had to do something. And within 6 months to be in that middle school, I was like, I performed. 98% of my students were proficient or advanced on the state testing. I still remember my principal back then.
I bet that was an amazing feeling.
Super happy.
Yes.
Because content was never an issue. It was just the cultural difference, as you said, or the methodologies, the pedagogy. But I said to myself that I can do this. It's going to take some time, but I'll never quit.
That's tenacity, right? That's being incredibly tenacious. So how did you bridge the cultural gap? You know, I'm even wondering in some instances, students may have never met someone like you. They certainly haven't met someone who's from India, right? They haven't met someone who's elected and chosen to stand in front of them and dedicate themselves to them, it may be from someplace different? How did you bridge that gap? Because much of it is just kind of really knowing each other and having trust with each other and wanting to really feel like they personally know you. So how did you do that?
So, what I realized, Candace, that more I develop relationships with my students early on is going to make a difference. So initially, my students probably thought that I'm not going to stay much longer. I'll probably be here for a few months and then probably leave. But then as the time went by and they noticed that, I have made many sacrifices in life to be here and to teach them. And I was very vocal about it. That, guys, I have left everything back to come here, to live a different life, to probably see growth for my son as well, because he was only 6 years at that time.
Okay.
So I was like, I showed my vulnerability to them, right? So when they realized that a lot has been on stake for me to be successful here, right? That's when they started taking me seriously. And then pretty early, they realized that Ms. Bhasin does care. She's here for us. And that was 100%, what my messaging to them was. That I want you to be someone in life. I want you to be successful. Like few years from now, if I go to a doctor's clinic, I want to see my student there. I want to see my students as entrepreneurs. So when they started to have this feeling that I am for them, and then what I was doing with them was making sense, they started to like the class, and that relationship I developed, it went a long, long way. Like we do Alumni Day every year in December.
It's amazing.
This past December, I was visiting home and I was not in school. And this is the first time in 13 years that I was not there. I was getting text messages.
Wow.
Right,
your students.
Yeah, where are you? We want to see you.
Oh.
And that's what I have earned in all these years. Like when they come, they don't want to go without seeing me. And that makes a difference. That makes me feel that whatever I have done in life, I have touched some lives, right? Mm-hmm. So that just stands out for me.
That's beautiful. When you think about building scholars, particularly in math, I'll speak from personal experience. High school math, I would walk into that high school math room class, that high school math classroom, and I'd have so much anxiety. So much anxiety. How do you tackle that with your students? How do you make math relatable, relevant, and accessible?
First thing, my messaging to all my students is always that no question is small, no question is dumb, and it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail to begin with, right? But eventually you'll feel better, you'll feel confident. And when they see that comfortable environment in the class, the comfortable vibe, where no one is judging nobody, I never make any comments like, oh, that was so easy. Why did you get this wrong? No. So they get that vibe from me that it's okay. It's all right. And then we try to have like a lot of conceptual understanding in the class. It's not just about procedures. It's about the whys. Like, why are we doing this? How are we doing this? And just connecting things to real world. That's one of my biggest goals. I know sometimes it's not possible always, but we try to as and when we can. So when it starts to make sense, starts to develop those connections, and when they start learning about the concepts behind those skills they're learning, it just automatically flows.
So you've been with the Friendship Public Charter School Network for 13 years. Tons of schools in Washington, D.C. and beyond, but you elected to stay with Friendship. Why?
Because I just love Friendship. I love the students of Friendship, and I love my colleagues. There has not been one single day when I was made to feel that I am an outsider. I just feel like home. Or I would say my friendship just makes me feel like a family because I'm just so invested in my scholars. I love them, they love me. And I never felt like, thinking about a different district.
So oftentimes I'm asked, what does it mean when friendship says, the friendship family? And it sounds like to me, you're included, it's inclusive, your voice matters, your expertise is respected, and most importantly, you've built this bond with your colleagues and your scholars that's enduring. So in your role as a math instructional specialist, tell me, what does that mean and how does it take shape day to day?
So for me, my role as a math instructional specialist means that every math classroom at Friendship Collegiate Academy should look and should pursue excellence. I am not that coach who would always come and tell their team to do ABC. I believe that this is the work we have to do together. And I am just the person who just brings everything together in terms of, say, you go to an algebra classroom or a geometry classroom or a pre-calculus classroom. Every classroom should look the same in terms of rigor, in terms of their organization, in terms of their thorough planning, in terms of, say, collaborative planning. So my role basically is to make sure that level of excellence is maintained in all the classrooms. And it's, again, not just the work done by my team, my teachers, but doing the work. I'll give you an example. Say, for example, a teacher is struggling with, say, finding a creative idea of how to teach a particular skill, which would make students more engaging, or it will go in a direction that which is a demand for how our new exams and things are set up. So we will sit together and plan and create that activity together, and we'll practice together. If somebody needs to model the activity for them, that will be done. So it's a work in tandem, just to ensure that we are at par with the expectations of friendship.
So speaking of planning and modeling and bringing these new practices or bolstering existing ones, how is Collegiate integrating or introducing AI to its teaching staff, but also its scholars? I know that's something that you've been very passionate and focused on. So how is AI taking shape on your campus?
So we have to be very careful with that. We have to be very careful with technology because technology could be either great or it could really, take away the thinking and the creative side.
You're the first person to say that. I've asked that question a few times, and that's a very, very honest answer. Okay, so tell me why.
So say, for example, we gave them a multi-parts question. It's very easy to just, with different features these days, to just, find the answer online and just copy it or not really pay attention to the actual thinking and the actual conceptual knowledge which went behind that problem, right? So we have to be so strategic in how we use technology, especially when we are giving homeworks. So my team, what they do is they pick up problems which are maybe from the secured materials, or students can find their answers online, and then make them actually do the work, make them actually explain their thinking. And it just goes in our favor. In the perspective of using AI in terms of different platforms, I know we are using Khan-Migo for a lot of things. For example, we did put our map scores in our Khan-Migo or Khan Academy platform, and it creates personalized practice based on what specific students need. Because if we have a class of 2025, differentiating instruction for every single student in that class is kind of a very challenging task. So Conmigo does that for us.
Right. Makes
Then-
things more efficient, right? For
And then
teachers.
Conmigo has another feature called TutorMe, which we actually looked at very closely ourselves. That is it providing the answers to the students? But no, it's not. Says a student put a question in, right? Instead of providing the answer or the steps, they will ask a counter question of what would you do in, say, scenario A, B, or C. And then when the student puts in something, it generates like, again, a follow-up question. So it's more like providing hints rather than actually giving the answers. So it's a great tool. It's like a teacher at home. So that's wonderful.
But you would subscribe to it. It's helpful.
Right.
It
It
helps
is.
teachers, it
It
helps
is.
students,
It
but
is
you just have
live.
to be really thoughtful about how students are using the
Yeah.
tool so that it's not necessarily doing the thinking for them.
Right.
But they've already demonstrated the thinking, and then it helps them to build their mastery.
Correct.
Okay. So, you know, when you think about AI, when you think about what expectations are needed for students to really be successful once they leave your classroom, once they leave your school, what do they need in our high schools right now? What would you say is that thing that high schools must do to ensure kids are ready, students are ready?
You know, friendship does a lot for our students, and I'm always appreciative of the fact that how we have such a vast and elaborate alumni program, and we actually help our students even when they graduate. But as a high schooler, definitely they need the right motivation. They need the correct messaging. Our students really need to know that the competition is really very broad outside. So in order to compete with the other students in the United States, or as a matter of fact for the rest of the world, you can do this. You know, we have to let them know you can do this. You have to just go out there, make sure that you are going with full confidence. You are demonstrating the core values, which we always speak about, and you're just staying consistent. And don't give up. There will be ups and downs. Every day is not going to be a rosy day, but don't give up. Just keep the motivation up. Just keep the hard work up. And the right combination of motivation, hard work, and staying persistent will get you where
I
you
think
need
that
to
is the message. That's the tenacious message that I think educators need to hear, students and families need to hear. They really need to understand that their time that they spend with you, the time that they spend at Friendship Collegiate in those classrooms, are opportunities that will really set the path for them for the rest of their life. And they've got to have that determination, and they got to demonstrate that determination in high school so that they're prepared to move forward from there. I'm so grateful to have this conversation with you. I know that Friendship is so incredibly grateful that you chose them and you chose to invest your talents and your expertise here at Friendship Public Charter School. Thank you for being so incredibly tenacious. I hope we can talk again soon.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Candice. Again, thanks for this opportunity, because I'm doing this in front of you today. I had never thought about that ever, like before, that I'm going to do something like this. But thanks for this conversation. It means a lot.
Likewise. Listen, we need to hear your voice. More teachers need to hear your voice. They need to hear your story. And I guarantee you it will inspire them. Thank you.
Thank you.